I'm going to do an insight video today. The last couple of days or weeks, I've been getting this sense as I start to sort of like get into my spiritual, sort of like spiritual vibration and frequency. There's this deep sense of centeredness at the moment that's coming, but this deep sense of centeredness is not just being centered, it's about being grounded, it's about being sort of anchored into the energy. And this centeredness is also like an expression again of that source energy, that light in creation that's within each and every one of us. And this centeredness is sort of like also again, it's playing out, or it's feeling like the vibration is very much around sort of again the expression of this like divine energy and this source creation and this source light within myself. But it's also this sort of like it's being in a place where where the wisdom, the understanding, and the connection comes. And this is I'm just feeling these feelings at the moment. It's like I'm sort of like I'm going to bed at night and I'm sitting there and I'm in my energy and I can feel this sense where I'm being drawn back and I'm being drawn back to this center. And when I'm in this center again, it's about this kind of sense of feeling connected, feeling sort of like this is my core and this is where I express from. And it's like I'm being sort of like drawn back to this center more and more. And the more that it's sort of like I go back to it, the more I sort of am connecting into my own energy sort of like centers, which is like the chakras within the energy body. But it's also sort of like it's again a place where you keep coming back and you keep transmuting and transforming things that are in your life. It's sort of like it's becoming this place where you go and you connect in and you can release, surrender, and let go of things, but you can also create from that place. And I feel like this is sort of like being given to me at the moment, and it's a tool for many of us at the moment that if we can just become more centered within our energy and our energy frequencies, and we can start to move away from those lower frequencies, but also move into a new consciousness, a new understanding, a new awareness again. And I feel this is very much being sort of like directed to me. I'm also being directed to the archangels at the moment. I woke up this morning and as I was just sitting in the room just getting ready to do a reading, all I could see was this beautiful sort of like turquoise light. And turquoise is sort of like mysticism, it's magic, it's protection, it's all those kind of things that come with like the colour. But I just feel with this centeredness again, it's like I'm being directed by the masters and the angels to sort of like become more conscious again, become more consciously aware. Or, you know that you can express your life in a more spiritual way, and the human side and the spiritual side becomes one. Um, and again, this is that kind of sort of like understanding that there is no separation. A lot of us walk through life, and we sort of like a lot of things are happening in our lives and around us, where we feel sort of like things are happening. The external world is very sort of like busy. It's very sort of like chaotic with things that are going on, and this kind of centeredness again is a place to go, where you remember and you and you sort of access again that source creation, that source life. Like I've also been talking about sort of like I talk about these sacred spaces, and I feel this is very much there again. This centeredness and this sort of like this vibration, this frequency is very much again how we access our source energy and source light, but we also open up our channel to actually connect into the infinite realms of like different realities. And this is where like your infinite self and your sort of like your higher self and like people say like the multi-dimensional self all come online from this place. And I feel like we're being sort of like directed back to a center where, and this center is allows us to align and create and express in a more spiritual way. And again, this is again aligning our own consciousness and our own sort of like energy and frequencies again, but it's also allowing us to align with our soul wisdom and our soul knowledge again. And it's very sort of like as I'm sitting there connecting into it, I can feel a massive sort of like energy. um, it's like it goes up and it comes all the way through my chakras as I'm talking about this. and I feel like it's aligning me, but it's aligning sort of like for my energy centers to open up, and the more they open up, the more I sort of like become open again to sort of like that concept of spiritual self and spiritual energy. But it also allows me to receive and be open and start to sort of align again. And alignment is so important. I keep talking about anchoring and alignment. I keep talking about illumination, and keep talking about wisdom and understanding. But all these kind of things come from being centered. And the more we can sort of walk and express, and as I'm sitting in this energy, I very much feel like you're just vibrating as this light, this energy. So you're coming back to this essence, this source light and energy, this source that light of creation, and this source light of manifestation, and it's all in this like centered feeling at the moment that I'm being given. Um, I feel very much so at the moment that a lot of us need to like center into this energy. And what happens then is when you do that, you access this energy, you access this vibration, this frequency. A lot of the things that you feel are like barriers or things that are in your way just dissolve. They dissolve in this centered feeling at the moment. And I feel like I'm sort of like walking in life, very much with light, but I'm also walking in life where you know with this divine will and this divine understanding, this divine wisdom. I feel again like with Almora, when it's got this divine intelligence, divine sort of wisdom, you understand that you have a frequency, you have an energy, you have a source light within each and every one of you, that you can just express it, and you can dissolve, and you can transmute and transform things within any second, with any moment, with any sort of like in any second, within any day. And I feel very much sort of like strongly directed to that at the moment. Transmutation is really really important. I know sort of like Archangel Zadkiel is very much around transmutating sort of negative energies, but nothing's really negative, because all everything is part of the whole. What it is it's an opportunity, and this is what they're saying to me. Being centered and being in that energy is not seeing anything as a challenge or anything as a block. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to open up your energy, to the infinite guides and infinite beings around us. Again, it's about sort of I've been talking a lot about spiritual truth and spiritual expression. We talk about, again, like I've talked about Lord Lanto as an ascended master with the illumination. Illumination is being able to be connected into that source light, which is your center. And when we start to do that, the human aspect and the human consciousness of our being shifts and changes into a more spiritual consciousness. So we start to see less limitations and more opportunities, and we start to see then also we have light and energy that we can use in any moment, in any time, to express change and shift reality and shift consciousness. So we can manifest a different reality, a reality that's more in harmony, more in balance, more in peace. And again, this is the archangels. The archangels bring this. They sort of like they connect to the planet, and they connect to us, and they're obviously connected to the source energy, and they bring this harmony, this balance, this peace, and they serve us in that way. And sort of like they're not like they serve us in that way. They're not servants. They serve us in that way. As with many of the infinite guides and the infinite masters, they've all chosen to help us when we come down here, to sort of like align, awaken, and ascend. The ascension process is coming back to oneness, and this centeredness and this oneness are very much interconnected. Again, this centeredness is about being in source light, source creation, but that's that oneness vibration. It's knowing that you're forever connected. You're always in that vibration, that frequency. You're always connected to that one vibration. It never leaves you. It never sort of like, yeah, you're never disconnected from it. And I feel this centered sort of vibration, this centered feeling that I'm being given is very much around that. I feel if I sit in this centeredness, a light and an energy emanates within my center, but also it vibrates through me, and as it vibrates, it sort of aligns, but it also heightens in awareness and sort of energy, that it just starts to, like I said, dissolve as anything. So anything that comes along like negative, when you're in the center, you can, it's like this light pours out through this center, your heart center, and when it does that, it dissolves any frequencies around you that are not aligned, that are not in sort of harmony with your source light and your source creation. So it's a tool of healing, it's a tool of releasing, it's a tool of dissolving, transmuting, transforming. And each and every one of us has this. I mean, I feel it very strongly today. As I'm sitting there in it, I feel like it's very much sort of like it's vibrating in me and in my energy field. And as I allow it to, it just sort of fills me up, and I become brighter, lighter, and it shifts everything that's around me. And it's been given not just to me, it's given to everybody. Whenever you do these readings, or I do these readings, it's when you're in spirit and you're working with spirit, it's not about a singular consciousness, it's about a collective. All tools are given for everyone, they're not given for one. Source energy and source light in creation doesn't work on a singular, it works on unconditional, and it works on an infinite level. And this is what this is about. I see a massive tree in my mind, like it's not like the tree of life, but like a massive tree that is beautifully sort of blooming and growth and stuff like that. So it's very much like trees are about this growth and this sort of like vitality. This is like vibrancy, and I feel like this tree is sort of symbolic of that as I'm sitting there and connecting into it. I've also got a staff in my hand with many different lights, and I think this sort of like connects to I think it's Archangel sort of like Raziel, which is very much connected to like spiritual truth, spiritual awareness, a heightened sort of understanding of spiritual truths. And I feel this is what's been given to me, but this sort of like staff has got many different lights and orbs on it, and it's very much connected to those spiritual truths and spiritual understanding, spiritual wisdom. But again, this isn't for me, this is for everyone and all beings. It's not just about me. I may sort of like feel these feelings and I may talk about them, but they're not given to me, they're supposed to be expressed, and sort of like the energy then flows through it and flows into onto this plane of reality. And this is what they're doing, they're anchoring in these new energies, they're anchoring them in for many of us to awaken and become again aware of the ascension process, but also of our spiritual light, our spiritual vibration, our spiritual light of creation is what I want to say. So it's like manifestation, like when you start to allow yourself to be in this center and you connect to this center, then you can start to create in a more spiritual way, and then you start to express your life in a more spiritual way. You come into harmony and you shift and change your consciousness, and you shift and change your reality. And again, this connects to Saint Germain, who brings the violet flame, which is very much around transmutation and transformation. The centeredness is also connected to the universal law of correspondence again, which is this knowing that we each all source creative beings with source light and energy, and we all need to awaken to that. And when we do that, then we start to align in a different way, and we align our lives in a different way. There's many different sort of like realities that can play out, and depending on our consciousness and depending on what we're creating in that moment, we can shift and change and manifest something of beauty and harmony, but also something that's aligned with our soul and our soul wisdom. And this is what this time's about, and this is why I feel these tools and these energies are being given at the moment for many of us to align again to that soul wisdom, that soul understanding. And this is what the guides are working with, the masters and the angels work with our soul and our soul energy, for us to align and awaken again. I feel it's a very, very good time for like, but I also feel sort of like, I feel it's very peaceful, this energy that I'm being given in the heart center, or the center. It feels very peaceful, it feels very in harmony, feels very much at peace. And again, this is one of the tools when you're in that centeredness, that there is peace there, because you can move and shift through things. You're not sort of like you're not caged by something, or you're not limited by something. You realize at any time you can shift and change your reality, and this is really, really important, because shifting and changing your reality is one of the key things that I feel, when I talk about the masters, this is what they realized when that they were in mastery, or they mastered the human path, that they very much knew this, that any time they can shift and change something, they were not limited. They had this infinite energy at any time they could call upon, with these infinite guides and these infinite beings around them, and these infinite dimensions of light and energy. And this is what I feel this sort of like message today is telling us. When you're in that center, you have this infinite sort of energy that you can call upon, which is this infinite source of light and creation again, that we can use at any time to shift and change your reality. And all you have to do is just be conscious of it, get into that center, and then just allow it, release and surrender, release whatever's in your energy and dissolve it and allow it to, and then you will start to manifest a different reality and a different um, frequency, and manifesting and shifting different frequencies is what creates what is creation, which is like the manifestation of energy and light, and it creates a new reality, and that is sort of like, that is creation. That is that spiritual expression connects into that creation as well. So expressing your light and your wisdom and your understanding is also creating, is part of that co-creation with source light and source energy. Well, that's the insight for today anyway. Please check out my Facebook page, make a comment, like, subscribe. If you want to make a comment, go to my Facebook page and of Spiritual Insight and Awareness.